These be like, what you think about this? Send. Oh.
Sixers win it! Wow!
Oh, man, and being just posterized Russell Westbrook. You love the Philadelphia Eagles! Let me get a hell yeah!
What is happening, guys? Happy football week to all Birds fans everywhere. It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. This is Party on Broad. Welcome, everyone, to our Eagles preview show. The Birds go for their 7th straight W over that Washington fucking football team, man. Today, we get ready for week 1 of the NFL, break down everything of the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, we're going to dive into the top storylines. We're going to talk about the biggest matchups, project some statistics with all the best Eagles players, and make our game predictions for Sunday's game. Before we get into introductions, guys, if you're new to the channel, please drop a like and smash that subscribe button below. If you're watching us live, please feel free to drop a comment, ask us questions right there in the chat. But most importantly, bring that trash talk, baby. Bring the trash talk. Tonight belongs to the Birds, but it also belongs to you guys watching. So we want to make sure this is as interactive as possible. So let's get to today's guests. First up, we got my man Rob. He is at Philly_Madness on Twitter. One of the hosts of the Madness podcast with Jessica Town. You can find that podcast here at the TPL YouTube channel. What up, Rob?
It's a football week. It's a beautiful thing. And I know that I just woke up today and realized I am so happy I am not Odell Beckham Jr. And I'm just going to leave it all.
Yo, come on, man. Come on. Well, I lost that bet. I thought it would at least been 30 seconds before we did an OBJ joke, man.
It's how we roll, baby. All right, next up, we got my man Prince, host of Real Time with Prince Blue. Make sure you check that out and follow our guy on Twitter at RealPrinceBrew. What up, Prince?
Man, I can't follow an OBJ joke, man. Like, what up, man? Come on, man.
Love it. All right, next up, we got my guy Shane. He writes a ton of incredible Eagles content at thepaintlines.com. Give him a follow on Twitter at @half_TPL. What up, Shane?
So I've just been on Twitter educating a Bengals fan about how awful the Redskins are, so I'm ready to go.
You was talking to a Bengals fan about football?
Washington football team, Shane.
Dang it! I told Deebs this morning that I'd be at least a half dozen times. So there's one. Let's keep a tracker.
Do a shot at them as their old name.
All right. Last up, we got my man Dylan. He is the host of the Faithful Fanatics podcast, the Spitballin' Podcast. Check it out. The Faithful Fanatics on Twitter at Faithful Fans and Spitballin' at Ballin' Spit. And my man Dylan, of course, at DylanJD98. What up, Dylan?
Not much, man. It's football week. The Birds are back, and let's go.
All right, guys. Let's start talking about the top storylines. There is no doubt in my mind that the top storyline heading into week 1 has to be in the trenches. The strength of the Washington football team is beyond obvious. Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan, Chase Young, with the way the Eagles' offensive line has kind of limped into this regular season. Like, these are the 3 guys that are really going to be on our radar all weekend long. At the end of the day, you know, the game is all about protecting Carson Wentz, keeping this guy cool and calm in the pocket. When Carson Wentz is confident, to me, like, his ability to improvise, his mechanics are sound. That's the MVP Carson we know and love. That's what needs to happen. So, man, we all know the injuries are across the board on that Eagles offensive line. We've got a 38-year-old left tackle sliding in for Andre Dillard. Can the Eagles offensive line keep Washington's front 7 in check? That's got to be one of my top storylines. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, listen, they better keep him in check, because if they don't, that spells a loss. I mean, if they can't keep this defensive line off of Carson Wentz, and making holes for Miles Sanders and things of that nature, it's going to be a long day. And let me talk about that offensive line for a second, because it's going to bring me to my Eagles front office being the smartest man in the room. They are going to hold Jason Peters hostage, right? No. We are excited about him at right guard. We're excited. He's going to be a great right guard. Everything's fine. But the minute Jason Peters walked in that office, man, did you boys flip the script real quick. Huh? It was like, oh, you know what? Yeah, okay, that's fine. No shit, that's fine. It's what you should have did from the jump. Like, I mean, come on. Why are you trying out? Matt Pryor cannot play left tackle. We had Trey Thomas on the Madness last week. And when I asked Trey Thomas, what is the best move the Eagles could do? He said, suck it the hell up and move Jason Peters to left tackle no matter what it takes. Because you're going to get your franchise quarterback killed if you try and put Matt Pryor out there. So I'm glad that Jason Peters just came to his senses and did it. But come on, fellas, up in that front office. It's time to do what's best for the organization, not what makes you look like the smartest guy in the room.
Prince, any comment on the offensive line of the Eagles and any other your top storylines for this game, week 1?
My top storyline is going to be the continued legacy of Doug Peterson and how he continues to just coach anything and everything and have these guys ready no matter what the circumstances is, because that offensive line is shoddy. And to me personally, I think that the defenses are going to be ahead of the offenses for at least maybe the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. That's just the way it is. So if they come out rushing and blitzing and sacking, I'm not going to get too upset unless they're putting real good licks on Carson. Other than that, again, I told you guys, and that's always going to be my story. As long as we got Doug Peterson, I will never worry about any football game ever. So that's just the way I look at it. I think Doug Peterson has something fresh for Ron Rivera and the boys.
So, talk about starting on fire. Rob knows, and I hope he appreciates my love for Greg Ward. So what a comment here. We got Wild Wild West commenting, I say player of the game will be my man, Greg, on a pedestal. Man, that would be so fantastic. So fantastic. We have, what up, Mr. Crockpot? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Did anyone else know about Wentz's soft tissue injury? Do we need to be concerned? From what I've known, it's just precautionary. Anybody have a take on that?
I think you said it.
X-rated tape.
All right.
Yeah. Groin
All right,
injury.
go ahead, Shane.
I don't even know what I'm talking about now. Are we still talking about the offensive line?
We're talking about top storyline.
We're talking about Carson Wentz growing.
Yeah, all right. On the offensive line thing, I wrote for the Painted Lines after Andre Dillard was hurt that I thought the offensive line would be better this season without him. With Jason Peters moving back to left tackle, with Matt Pryor at right guard, than it would have been with Dillard at left tackle. It got shaky, but now that Peters is going back to left tackle, I've got no concerns about him sliding back out there. He's played the position for over a decade. He's going to be fine. I think Matt Pryor is going to be fine. I think the offensive line, the Washington football team has a great pass rush, but I think they're going to be able to deal with that. I think it's going to open up a lot of stuff. Deshawn Jackson's going to open up a lot of stuff over the top. I'm really excited to see him. He went off against them last year. The only game we got to see him actually play, but I'm really excited to see what he can do against the secondary and what it opens up underneath for Miles Sanders and for Zack Ertz.
Right. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, I agree with Rob. It's got to be the offensive line. But with that being said, I don't know if the Eagles would have continued to hold out and let Jason Peters ride it out at right guard going into week 1 and keep Matt Pryor at left tackle. The thing I'm most excited about, look, you're going to get a false start every week out of Jason Peters. He's going to be on the sideline for 1 to 2 to 3 series every game. But with him going back to left tackle, yes, he's 38 years old. Yes, he's going to get hurt. Yeah, but you can hide Matt Pryor at right guard between Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson. You cannot hide Matt Pryor on Carson's blind side at left tackle. So with this being adjusted with Jason Peters coming to Doug in his office, if that's how it went down, then I think it fixes a huge need, even though that he's an aging veteran. But it's much better than having Matt Pryor at left tackle going against Chase Young week 1.
All right. Let's roll on to top matchups. I'll lead us off. This isn't necessarily my like most important matchup, but it's the matchup that I'm most excited to watch. For me, I think there's a major red flag going on with the Philadelphia Eagles that not a lot of people have really discussed. We've gone over and over and over again about the lack of depth on the offensive line, but what about the cornerback position, guys? We all know they've got a ton of nickel corners, but in terms of outside corners, it is real thin. The matchup I'm looking forward to is Darius Slay versus Terry McLaurin. So, Scary Terry is one of the top young upcoming wide receivers in the league. And while there's there's significant weight being placed on top of Darius's shoulders, there's been a lot of kind of discussion about whether Darius Slay's performance has decreased over the last several years. So I am super excited to see what we've got in Midnight Green with Darius Slay. And we know that the Eagles were one of the worst in the NFL in terms of limiting the big play on defense. And that's where my guy Darius Slay comes in. The Eagles were buried by big plays. You guys remember that 17-0 deficit in that first half versus the Washington Redskins. So with no preseason, the Eagles defense needs to set the tone. Moving forward, though, if the Eagles defense wants to be amongst the top defenses in the league, Darius Slay has to prove he is a legit shutdown number 1 corner. The Eagles need to start fast. They have been outscored by the Redskins 34-17 in the first half over the last 2 games during last season. I know it's a brand new season, but that's what I'm looking at. Go ahead, Dylan. What is one of your top matchups for this week 1 matchup?
Well, to go off what you said, no, I do not think Darius Slay's play has digressed over the last few seasons. The lack of depth is concerning with them cutting Sidney Jones and Russell Douglas. But I've never been as happy to see the Eagles secondary play since Asante Samuel left. So, but my biggest matchup is staying on the secondary both with Washington, and that's going after Ronald Darby. Whoever Ronald Darby's lining up against, I'm picking him apart all day long.
Dylan, you know better. You know, whenever players leave here, he's going to be Deion Sanders 2.0 because Schwartz scheme stinks. He doesn't know how to use people. My matchup will definitely be, honestly, I got to go with Doug P. and Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a legit coach, and they were on the same staff. Ron Rivera runs a pretty good damn defense. I'm here in Charlotte. Like, look up Charlotte stats as far as the defense. Like, those guys were solid every year. And Ron Rivera, he loves linebacker play, and he loves mixing it up all 3 levels. So it's not like Schwartz where you're just going to get it from the front line, then the back is just vanilla as all hell. So I'm trying to see how Doug is going to scheme these newfound weapons of his. And we got some young, inexperienced ones. Do anybody know what we're going to get from JJ? Deeb's Dobbs MVP Greg Ward. We know what he can do. We know he's all pro. But everybody else, I don't know. Will we get more than 1 half with D-Jack? So I'm curious to see how Doug is going to get all these weapons going and keep that pass rush at bay. So it's going to be, my matchup is Doug versus Ron Rivera.
I love it. Go ahead, Shane.
Pop quiz. Who's the left tackle for the Washington football team? Anybody know?
Trent Williams Ghost.
Trent Williams Ghost. I had to Google this guy because I had no idea who he was. The guy's name's Jerome Christian Sr. All right, he's a 3rd-round draft pick 2 years ago. He's torn an ACL since he's been in the NFL, and he's played 170 snaps. If Derek Barnett cannot put pressure on Dwayne Haskins against a nobody 3rd-round pick, it's time to move on. All right. But I'm interested to see the defensive line for us. I mean, Washington's got a good right side of the offensive line. The left side is a train wreck. And you would hope, Javon Hargrave's out, but Malik Jackson's still there, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. Derek Barnett should get one-on-one opportunities against a no-name left tackle. And I need to see a big game from Derek Barnett.
Shane, is that official that Hargrave is out for week 1?
Yeah, well, at the time of the injury, they said he was probably going to miss like a month, and they were looking at like a week 3 return. So I don't think they put out an official injury report that says he's out, but as far as I know, they're still looking at like a week 2 or 3 return for him.
Okay.
Rob.
All right. So I just want to real quick comment the Darius Slay thing. Darius Slay was a victim of a tarnished relationship with his head coach, was a victim of not being used the right way. And what Prince said is true. Our defensive coordinator's got to understand you now have a guy that needs to follow the number 1 receiver wherever they go. Remember last year when Darius Slay played against Amari Cooper, and I think it was like 3 catches for 15 yards. He's got to shadow whoever that guy is week in and week out. If he doesn't, you're not using this guy to the best of his ability. So there's that. Here's my matchup. Every single one of the Eagles linebackers versus Antonio Gibson. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this guy, Antonio Gibson, can cause issues for a team because of the versatility of him. And when we are putting out there, Nate, whatever the hell he pronounces his name, because he doesn't deserve for me to get it right yet, Duke Riley, who was a special teams ace, and TJ Edwards, who I have hope for, but I'm not overly thrilled. I am afraid of a guy like an Antonio Gibson just absolutely torching them around the middle of the field, and the Eagles having to use that dime scenario, and how do those guys catch up about him? I know Terry McLaurin. I know Dwayne Haskins. Antonio Gibson on that Redskins offense is a major X factor for that team that the Eagles have to be aware of, and they got to be ready for everything that Riverboat Ron is going to throw at them with this guy in his arsenal.
Oh, Riverboat.
All I know is this. You saw the way Rivera used Christian McCaffrey. I'm not telling you Antonio Gibson is Christian McCaffrey. That's not what I'm saying. But he knows how to get guys the ball that could do a lot with it. And Gibson can very well be that type of player. And with the 3 out of the 5 of us playing linebacker for the Eagles, I'm friggin' scared.
You obviously haven't seen me play linebacker.
No, I haven't.
Shane's pretty good.
I'm just telling you, at 5'7", 140 pounds, I'm a threatening force over the middle of the field.
I'm just making assumptions. What's wrong with me? That's wrong with me.
All right, we have 88 to Great. We have 88 to Great joining. He says, we're going to shock y'all. This new offense also hasn't been seen. Might be debated, just saying. Any take on that, Prince? Like, what is your confidence level of Doug Peterson running a more creative offense in 2020?
Look at this face. Does it look like a face of a guy that's worried? One coach is a Super Bowl winning champion. One coach has the balls the size of Lincoln Financial Field. The other coach just got fired. So, with that being said, this new offense that was so innovative that you cut Adrian Peterson before to shake things up. Get out of here, man. I can't. Yo, but shout outs to him for having the bravery to come up in here and tell some HTTW. Is that a website? HTTP : Hell to the website. Hell to the website.
Hail to the Washington, huh? That's where you're going with. Wait a minute. Let's talk about the fact that Redskins fans are such weasels that they come out before the game starts to play to talk their shit, and they'll go right back into their cockroach of a hole, just like those Dallas fans, all right, as soon as the losses start. You know what I mean? Seriously, come on, man.
88 to Great.
Who the hell are you talking about? Who the hell are you talking about? What are you, a Dallas fan posing? It's a poser, I think.
Let's go to that website. Hashtag Hail to the Washington. It's probably on GoDaddy right now.
We also have Wild Wild West says, are you concerned with Zack Ertz's contract extension stops talking? Go ahead, Rob.
I mean, look, am I concerned in the long run? Yeah, because and I commented on this on the Madness last week. I just think it's here. It, to me, is coming off Joe Banner-esque, right? We're going to nickel and dime these guys as they get older, And I'm just not for it. A guy like Zack Ertz, who has done so much for your team, for your community, he's been a locker room guy. He's been here in the good, the bad, and he's always maintained that high level of maturity and locker room presence. I don't like nickel and diamond guys. So in the long term, am I concerned? Yeah, let's see what happens. But am I concerned like this is going to affect Zack Ertz? I don't think he's that kind of a guy. I think Zach's going to go out. He's going to do his job. He's going to play as well as he can for this team. And he's going to be Carson's safety blanket. I mean, that's who he is. And he knows it, and Carson knows it. So, once again, I posed this question, and of course, everyone ripped me for it. I posed this online. Is the handling of Zack Ertz the way they have, the handling of Jason Peters the way they have, and the drafting of Jalen Hurts, is this the Eagles and the smarter than everyone person in the room starting to slip out the clues that they are very comfortable not protecting number 11 and moving on from him, which I think would be a mistake, which would piss me off if I'm an Eagles fan. So I posed that. Now I got ripped and everyone said, no, but that's because everybody drinks the Kool-Aid of this front office. The green, the midnight green Kool-Aid runs heavy in Philadelphia, and they're all drinking it if you ask me.
Dibes, can we block this dude yet?
Which one?
Do y'all agree our defense going to be top 10?
Oh, I want that one.
Right.
No, I want to know who 88 the Great is. I want to know who you're referring to as 88 the Great. Because the only 88 I know that was great as far as is like Michael Irvin pops to mind. If you want to go back to the days of the Purple People Eater defense, I believe Alan Page might have been 88. But outside of that, I want to know who the hell was 88 that was so great.
Dodge, one more storyline. One more storyline.
Right, Dylan, any takes on Zack Ertz, man? Dylan?
No, I'm there with Rob. I have no immediate concerns. We talked about it on the Faithful Fanatics as well. Like, to me, if you don't get an extension going into next season, I don't know what the plan is going to be for Zack Ertz, because he's got 2 years left, so he'll play this year, but he's not going to play next year with no contract extension. So it comes to, do they believe that much in Dallas Goedert to be the next guy, or what the case is? But one more storyline going into week 1, I think, is who's going to assume that leadership position now that Malcolm Jenkins is gone. And what I've seen in training camp, obviously the guy who's taking over his position, Jalen Mills, I don't know how that's going to play out, but it's not just as far as the leadership role goes on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like he's trying to take that position. So we'll see.
For me, with the whole Zack Ertz thing, I don't care. Like, the Eagles are doing exactly what they should be doing. He's a 29-year-old tight end that's under contract for 2 more seasons. If you're going to extend him with 2 years left on his deal, it better be on a team-friendly deal. So they're trying to get a low offer in. If Ertz doesn't want it, that's fine. Ertz is doing what he should do. He's produced at an elite level. Play out your contract. Maybe you talk about it next year. I'm not concerned short or long term about the Zack Ertz contract. Doesn't bother me at all. I'm curious to
know who went to who, because that would tinker with my thinking on how I feel about it. If Zach went to them, then I'll be like, damn right, I'm going to be like, okay, you got 2 more years of your deal? I'm a nickel and dime you. If they went to Zach, then I'm like, why come to me if you're going to disrespect me and nickel and dime me? So it depends on who went to who. So I can see it both ways. But if Goddard balls out, Zach is gone. If Goddard gets hurt again or he's showing the ibby dibbities, then Zach will be back. That's exactly how it is.
See, and my counter to that, and Dives, we've talked about this, right? When we had that Jalen Reagor versus Justin Jefferson debate, one of your arguments, and it's warranted, is, well, the Eagles have Goddard and Ertz to man that spot. Well, if you get rid of Ertz, you're now down one of those big key weapons. And listen, I'm always pro-player before pro-management, because management is a bunch of old dudes sitting in a room counting their money, not doing a damn thing, okay? And it's just the way I know people are different, but that's the way I am. So when it comes, and when you get, like, look, I understand what you're supposed to do, but there are certain guys you make exceptions for. Joe Banner screwed it up with Brian Dawkins years ago. I never forgave him for it. It's why I still rip his ass on Twitter. Zach Ertz is like he's a funny guy, man. Like you don't nickel and dime the ones that are there for you day in and day out. That's all I'm saying.
All right, let's roll on the stat. Oh, Shane, did you have anything to say?
I was going to say, is 88 the great? Is 88 referring to Pierre Garçon? Is that who this is? That, like,
Oh my God.
88 the great.
That's
Needs to give up the Percocet.
That's Washington's number 88, right? The big name, like that's who it's got to be.
Has to be.
Oh wow.
So he asked if their defense is going to be top 10. What defense? Like their pass rush is going to be top 10, but dude, your top cornerback is Ronald Darby.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I promise you, in the first quarter of the game, Deshawn Jackson's going to run a stop and go route, and Ronald Darby's hamstring is going to separate from the bone, and he's going to be done for the year. That's Ronald Darby. They have no chance. They have no secondary. Nothing.
Why are we wasting our time with a guy with a team that doesn't have a name? They don't have a name. It's like playing Madden and you got a generic team that lost their license. So you're playing Washington.
Here's the thing, though.
No,
with their corners.
Wait, he just said we misused Ronald Darby.
What? How do you misuse?
Well, hold on. We did. We put him on the field. That's a misuse of his talents. He's clearly supposed to be carrying water bottles on the sideline. His hamstring can handle water bottles. Here's the thing, though. Like, they do not have – and it's not just a Washington thing. There's very few teams in the NFL that have a corner that allows you to play cover 3, play single high against Deshaun Jackson. And so they're going to have to go split safety looks. They're going to have safety help over the top, or Jackson's going to go off. What happens when you go split safety? It opens up Zack Ertz over the middle. It takes a guy out of the box for the running game. If the offensive line shows up and plays at the level they're capable of, it's a lose-lose. If you go single high, Deshaun's going to feast. If you go split safety, it's going to be the Goddard, the Ertz, and the Sanders show. That's what we're looking at on Sunday.
All right, love it. Let's roll into stat predictions, and let's lead off with Carson Wentz. Carson averaged 315 yards and had 6 total touchdowns during his 2 games versus Washington in last season. Go ahead, Dylan. What are some stat predictions for Carson Wentz, man?
Well, first, I'm going to say that Carson plays a clean game, and he does not turn the ball over against the Redskins, against the Washington football team this week. I don't know if they're going to keep his jersey clean, but I think he gets out of the pocket, and we've seen that's where he gets to be innovative and create plays outside the pocket. So that's something to look for this week. I say I'm taking the over on that 215. I'm going 280, close to 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers for Carson Wentz.
Okay, Dylan.
Shane, you're up, bro.
Oh, I didn't know who you said. My bad.
The other Shane.
Yeah, I said I'm on the record about how awful Washington's secondary is. So I think Carson Wentz has the opportunity to have a big game, but I really think they're going to take guys out of the box to try to take Deshaun away and trust their defensive line to deal with our running game. I think it's going to be a run-heavy game for the Eagles. I don't think Wentz is going to have a bad game. I think he's probably in like the 225-ish yard range. I'm going to say he fumbles the ball, though. They got a good pass rush. He fumbles if anybody gets close to him. So I don't think he throws a pick, but I think he's likely to fumble at least once. Hopefully we fall on it, but I'm calling like 225 for Wentz.
All right, you're up, Prince.
I got 31-17. Carson has a monster game, and I think it's going to be one with those 2 tight ends, and it's going to be a Miles Sanders game because I think they're not going to want to get embarrassed by Deshaun, so they're going to focus so much on him. And then, like I said, again, do I have to tattoo Doug's face on my cheek? Like, Doug Peterson is just going to – he's going to dial up those 3 running backs, and it's just going to put that defense in a quandary because we have a lot of weapons. It's like, what are you going to do? Who are you going to take away? So I think Wentz has a monster game. I'm talking 2 touchdowns by Wentz and then at least 2 touchdowns by the running game.
Wait, real quick, Prince, I'm with you. I love Doug too. But if I see Doug Peterson throw on first down, incompletion, run on 2nd and 10, one more time because he does it every single game. I'm going to lose
You
my
know
mind.
what I aching it to? Like when Chip Kelly used to always start with the fucking swing pass.
Yeah.
God, they used to. Oh, but I got you. But I think, see, it's a catch-22 because, like D said, when you get Carson Wentz in rhythm, he's like a different cat. So do Doug want to get Carson going early, or do he want to get some positive stuff going and then get Wentz running? But I agree with you. That throw on first stuff that grinds me too.
And if I'm sitting here noticing it over and over again, the defense has to see it coming.
Oh yeah, especially Riverboat Ron. I'm telling you, it's the matchup. He's a very, very, very good head coach who's defensively oriented. He's going to have some plans for Doug, but I just think we have too many weapons for that defense.
All right, who do we get? Rob, what's your take on Carson
Big Rob
predictions?
All right. So here's the deal. I think Carson throws for about 270. I think a lot of his short intermediate stuff that gets broken for longer plays, Miles Sanders-esque, screen passes, things like that. You know, the one thing that has been very clear in Carson's career is when they're rolling and getting a few first downs and they're moving in that up-tempo, not necessarily no huddle, but up-tempo, he's at his best. And with this weird offseason, right, where Prince is right, defenses normally come along quicker. You got to keep them off balance. So if I'm the Eagles, if I'm Doug, I'm going to that up-tempo right away. And I'm going to try and keep them off balance. I'm going to be, hitting them with a little bit of everything. I will say this about Doug Peterson. I like Doug. I love Doug. How can you not? He brought a Super Bowl to this town. But my issue is this. Sometimes, as Dee said, that predictability factor starts playing a role, and that's when I get frustrated. It gets stagnant, and you get these 3-and-outs, 1, 2, 3, 4 series in a row. That's where the Eagles can run the problems. I agree the Eagles have more talent. I agree the Eagles are the better football team, and I truly believe the Eagles will come out on top in this one. But they have got to let this offense get into a rhythm, and if that takes up-tempo to do, then so be it.
Rob, did you see the line that I think, according to it was ESPN, they got the Eagles with next to the Chiefs with the highest win margin this week?
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's good. Like I said, listen, one of the storylines, and we didn't talk about this, I know we've been watching all these sports with no fans, and all of them it has worked. But football, I think you could say, is the biggest. The fans have the biggest impact.
Absolutely.
Right? They pump up the players and all. I am really intrigued all across the board, not just with the Eagles, Redskins, but every game that doesn't have fans in the seats, how it is, how it goes. Like, yeah, you could pump crowd noise in, but you watch the players run out of the tunnel and start turning to the fans. That's not going to be there. And I'm curious what it does to the state of the game of football. I'm very interested on Thursday night to watch that, and then going into the weekend as well.
Are the Chiefs having fans?
I don't,
because their social media put out, like, they had pods set up at a practice, like fans out in social distance, like pods in the seats.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I know that Miami is getting, some fans. I know, obviously, Jerry Jones, because he doesn't listen to anything but himself, is putting fans.
Denver.
So I know it depends on the state. Now, I don't know what the Missouri rules are, but I know it's all about state legislation right now.
All right, let's keep this rolling. We have Wild Wild West saying Carson Wentz, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. We got your boy Dylan, Matt McGinney from the Faithful Fanatics podcast. He said Carson with 270 plus, 3 touchdowns. Let's roll on to Miles Sanders. Miles had 12 touches with 25 yards during his first game of 2019, and then followed that up with a banger, 25 touches, 172 yards, and 2 total touchdowns during the second game versus Washington. Lead us off, Rob. What's your stat prediction for Miles Sanders in this game?
So I think the key for Miles Sanders in this game is for the Eagles to get a passing game going early, where the Redskins then have to send more protection back there, and then you start, using Miles as a running back, as a dink and dunker, and all that stuff. I don't want to give a rushing yard total, and I don't think we should with Miles all year, because I think for him it's always going to be a total yard thing. and I think he goes for about $125 total yards and maybe a couple scores. But that's what Miles Sanders brings to the table. It's not just the hard running, which he can do, and I think a lot of us forget that because he does have that scat back feature to his game. But he's a hard runner. I mean, just look at his career in Penn State. He can run hard. But I expect big things from him. But I think it's crucial for the Eagles to develop a passing game that has to back the defense off a little bit to let him then get in there and do his thing.
We have Wild Wild West saying 14 carries for Miles Sanders. I think that's right around it. I think that's really where we're going to see his at least touches in the backfield. Go ahead, Prince.
I'm with Rob. Once they sell out on D-Jack, I mean, I can see Carson just dumping that thing to Miles, and then he just getting all that underneath chunk yardage right there. So I'm with Rob where he says that he's not going to be like a Bettis where it's going to be about carries. Miles is a touches running back. So I'm going to say about 20 touches because he's coming off injury. Has been 20 touches, about 125, and maybe one score. And I think Boston might steal one from him down there at the goal line. So I got him all purpose around 125. So I'm right there with Rob.
Go ahead, Shane.
I'll put him about 16 carries, 80-ish yards. I think he's more productive in the passing game. The one place that he struggled last year was in the red zone. In the red zone, his success rate rushing was 40% or something like that. And he was fine in short yardage everywhere else on the field, but in the red zone, I don't know what it was. But I look for Scott to get more carries down around the red zone. So I don't think he's necessarily going to be a touchdown machine, but I think he'll be efficient in the passing game.
Done.
Yeah, I agree. I think he finds the end zone at least one time. I got him 15, 16, 17 carries. He's going to get a swing pass, a screen, 3 or 4 touches out of the backfield for around the 100 to 115 total mark.
All right, let's roll on to Zack Ertz. Zack Ertz had 5 receptions and 54 yards on 7 targets during week 1 of 2019. He had 5 receptions, 61 yards, and a touchdown on 10 targets during that second game. Dylan, you're up, man. Stat predictions for Zack Ertz.
Well, I didn't know he had 7 in the opener last week, but I got him 7 for 88 this week. No touchdowns.
88, no pun. There you go, Dylan. Good job. Way to troll.
Zack Ertz, 88 to great. You're up, Shane.
I think Zack Ertz goes over 100 yards. I think he's got a huge game this week. Especially, they got to pay attention to Deshawn Jackson or he's going to burn him. So I think Ertz goes over 100 and gets a pair of touchdowns.
Prince.
I got Zach being quiet. I think Wentz is going to enjoy Goddard because that intermediate where Carson, he loves to see that ball go deep. So I think I think Goddard's going to steal a couple touches this first game out because they're going to focus on Ertz. I mean, he's an all-pro potential Hall of Famer. So I know for a fact that Ron is like, yeah, don't let that guy go off and don't let number 10 go off. So I think Goddard being the more athletic of them, they're going to do with him with the same what Wilson's name used to do with us that used to be their tight end but was always concussed.
Reed.
What was his name?
Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
Jordan Reed.
Yeah. He used to give our linebackers fits because he was just so much athletic and faster than everybody. And I think that's Goddard. So I think for Ertz, I think it's going to be 4 catches, like 40-something yards.
All right. Yeah, the Eagles run more two tight end sets than anybody. I think you're going to even see more of that in week 1 here. Rob, you're up, dude.
Yeah, I think like a 5-catch, 65-yard. I think very similar to his performances last year. I think 9 catches, 130 yards would be amazing. I don't. Let's put it this way: I don't see very many Eagles players. Sorry, Dives, not even Greg Ward, getting 9 catch, 130 yards this year. I don't see that stat line for too many of these guys. I do think that Carson is going to spread the ball around, and when you mix in Miles Sanders and Boston Scott into that mix, It's going to be tough for any of these guys to become 9-catch, 130 guys. Be nice, but I don't think you're going to even need to do that this game. I think there's enough weapons and ways you could keep the Redskins off balance rather than stick to him for 9 targets.
Dude, what is this kid talking about?
He's a troll.
Let's keep rolling, baby. Let's keep rolling. Next up, we got Deshawn Jackson. Then we're going to get into our game predictions. D-Jax had 8 receptions for 154 yards. Man, I don't know about you guys. 2 touchdowns. That was like the moment of 2019. That was just so epic at the time. So that chemistry between Carson, it was brutal. But when he got that injury. But, yeah, he didn't play pretty much the rest of the season. Rob, lead us off. What do you expect from Deshawn Jackson in week 1, man?
Listen, I think I might be pulling out my rosary Sunday morning. I might be saying a novena and praying that he just makes it through the game unscathed. I mean, that's the number one thing with me with Deshawn Jackson. I do think they are going to try and take him away at some point, if not right away. I think Deshaun has maybe I'm going to say like 3 or 4 catches. I don't think he's going to have a lot of catches, but I do think one of them is going to be a long one at least. I'll say, for the sake of numbers, I'll go 4 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Stay healthy, D-Jack. Stay healthy, damn it.
Wild, wild west.
All right, you're up, kid.
He predicted it.
Oh, baby. You're up, man. Go ahead, Prince.
Like what? I'm still trying to figure out why are we giving this guy.
Oh, go ahead, Prince. Sorry.
Why are we giving this guy? What is he talking about? Red Wolves? Like what? No, how about the Washington Odell Beckham Juniors? How about that? Because they both shitty.
Red Wolves is way too badass for the Washington football team. I think that'd be an awesome mascot. It would be way too badass down there in D.C.
You know what their mascot should be? A huge Twinkie with a cockroach on top of it. That's what it should be. God, my God. But anyway, what was you saying, D? I'm sorry. Got carried away with that.
Stat predictions for Deshaun Jackson, man.
Oh, 5 catches, 60-something yards. They're not gonna let him go crazy. They're just not. Deshaun is just I've seen him devastate a whole city, mainly ours. He's just. I mean, you guys know what he does to a team when he goes deep and he catches one. It just demoralizes you. So Ron doesn't want that smoke. So don't be shocked to see just a linebacker covering Wentz and everybody else around the show in a carousel. They're not gonna let him go off, man. So 5 catches, 60-something yards.
All right. Shane, you're up, bro.
I kind of think the same thing. I think they're going to really do their best to limit Deshaun. I give him like 3 catches, 60 to 70 yards. I don't think he's going to break a big one this game.
You're up, Dylan.
I don't care what Ron Riverboat wants. I don't care what they think they can do to slow D-Jax down. D-Jax is getting 5 for over a bean, and he's getting in the end zone. Because they have I understand what you guys are saying. They're going to game plan towards D-Jax. They're going to try to take away the big play, the big chunk play. Who do they have that's taking that away? You can double team him all you want. He's still going to break through a double team at least once in a game. So I don't care what Ron wants. I don't care what Ronald Darby thinks he can do. D-Jax is going over a bean.
You guys,
2 Rons.
You guys remember the year after Super Bowl when the Eagles went to play Tampa, and all week all we talked about was keep D-Jax in check, check. And on the first play, nobody kept D-Jax in check. Like that's what I'm hoping may happen in this game. But God, I don't think anyone could be as stupid as the Eagles were that.
Even last year against Washington, obviously they wanted to keep D-Jax in check, and they had Josh Norman wasn't what he was in Carolina or his first year in Washington. But they still had Josh Norman following him around the field, and he still broke 250-plus yard touchdowns.
Right.
I'm coming to Dylan's side now.
All right. Wild Wild West asks. Okay.
No, I was just saying.
Wawa West
Dylan
asks, do we
making a
see
good case
Jalen
for
Hurts
it.
at all? My first guess is if we
Did Chris freeze again?
Yeah, Dodge.
Yeah.
a little bit.
No, that's my freeze face.
all right, we have
We'll see Nick
Can you
Foles
see
before
me?
we
Can you hear me?
Jalen Hurts.
Dodge,
No,
we-
you're freezing, D.
Dodge,
You're
we're getting,
freezing.
bits and pieces of you over there, man.
We're gonna see him on the sideline.
Hey, he's gone. There he is.
But-
He's on his way to Washington, right?
Yeah.
We have no host. What is going on?
I'll
We're
just
our host for the rest of the show.
say this. My quick answer to that question is no. Shane, I saw you kind of commented to him, and I kind of agree with you. I'm not saying that at some point this season you may not see a package. I'd be stunned if they pull it out in week 1. That's not Doug's MO. He likes to kind of hold on to things until that opportune moment. And I sure as hell hope you're not going to have to use it in week 1.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're gonna see him on the sideline. They're gonna talk about him because it's a huge story from that colossal screw up in the draft. But I think there'll be a package sometime throughout the year. But I don't see him rolling it out week 1. I don't think they're gonna need to.
all right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're
All
good,
right, yeah.
baby.
Yo, the
HD.
boss man ain't happy. The boss man ain't happy, Dibes. Let's go.
HD, you
Sorry,
look
Brian.
sexy.
Sorry, Brian. Yeah, I don't know if it was been said or not, but maybe a touch in the that red zone, right on the goal line. That's it. I think that's all you're going to see at least in week 1. Let's roll on. Let's roll
This
on. To
podcast is running about as smooth as the Washington football team.
Oh, here we go.
The
Burn.
Washington dickheads.
Yes, we're gonna save that for the tweet. 100%.
Dives, can you make a
100%.
snippet? Dives, can you make a snippet after this? Can you get a piece of this after the show and put that on Twitter?
That's 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's roll on to game predictions. I'll lead us off. I've got the Eagles 24, Washington 20. Like when you look at 2019 and you look at 2020, it's like almost scary how similar we are. Where we at right now? The Eagles play Washington week 1 again. The Birds take on Washington with many of their key players not playing preseason again. So I think the Eagles are going to have a real challenge of keeping Carson Wentz's jersey clean all game on Sunday. I have a few concerns about this game, probably a little bit more than everyone else here, especially Doug's tendency to kind of abandon the run game. And I really think when you look at that really strong Washington front 7, I think this game boils down to, Prince, you touched on this, is Doug's play calling. This is really going to just boil down to Doug's play calling and his ability to keep that Washington front 7 off balance and constantly guessing. I think we talked all offseason about how the Eagles desire to get more creative on offense. And well, guess what, guys? We're here. It's fucking time. Week 1 is the perfect opportunity for Doug to show fans that he kind of learned from his mistakes from last year. His offense got too stale, too predictable. So get Boston Scott involved in the screen game. Get Miles Sanders some wheel routes. Get him touches beyond the backfield. Use Hightower's speed. Run some reversals with John Hightower. That's what I expect. I think we're going to see a really solid performance. Eagles 24, Washington 20. You're up, Rob.
Yeah, no, you know what, Dodge? I'm with you. I mean, I think there are concerns in this game, and a lot of that is, what we've talked about in the trenches on both sides of the ball, because I am still worried about those defensive ends and getting home. And I forget it. I think it was Shane who said it. If Derek Barnett can't get home this week, you might as well just forget about it. He ain't getting home ever. I mean, this is like the time the Eagles went up to New York and put Winston Justice out there and gave up 6 sacks, or when Dallas went out and let Vic Beasley or whoever the hell it wasn't Vic Beasley, it was the other guy, feast on Dak Prescott. Like, that's what it should be. That's what it should be this week. I think the Eagles do have more talent. So I do think the Eagles win the game, but I don't see this being a blowout. I think 27-20 maybe will be the game. Listen, we ain't sitting back with this team this year. There are very few games where I think we're going to be able to sit back and just enjoy. It's just not in this team's nature, man. And with all the uncertainties of this year, I think 27-20 is about as bold as I could go on a prediction for this one.
All right, you're up, Prince.
I think I said it earlier. I got 31-17, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Woo!
Because Doug Peterson, man, that's my guy, man. That's my guy, man. Because I was here when he was hired, and like the media just totally shitted on the guy because he wasn't regal or he didn't have a chin or I don't know what it was, but they talked so much shit about the guy, and he pretty much pulled his junk out and told the whole world in 2017 during the Super Bowl, suck this, I'm a champion. Like, dude, like, I got him 31-17. I got Doug getting all the weapons, spreading the ball around, got Carson seeing go for good yardage, getting them excited. I got 17. I give them 17 because you know that Jim Schwartz and his patented 20 yards back, it always gives up something. So, you know, Dwayne Haskins is dynamic, so I'm going to give him at least 17, but I definitely got the Eagles scoring 31, and I got it looking ugly at first, but then they pull away. So we're going to sweat a little bit.
All right, you're awesome. You're up, Shane.
Here's the thing. Carson Wentz in his entire career has never lost to the Washington Redskins. He might lose to the Washington football team, but it's not going to be on Sunday. It's going to be a sloppy game. I mean, there's no preseason. So week 1 is always sloppy. Imagine what it's going to look like with no preseason, with limited camps in the offseason. So it's going to be sloppy. I don't expect the offense to put it all together in week 1. It's going to be a work in progress. But the Eagles are too talented to not put up any points. And I just don't think it's going to take many points to beat Washington. I mean, what do they have on offense? They've got a quarterback that they thought they might get rid of this offseason, like a second-year quarterback that wasn't any good, granted, except when he played the Eagles. So I don't know. Maybe he's the second coming of Kirk Cousins. I don't know. But what does he have to throw to? I mean, he's got Terry McLaurin. Hopefully Slay takes him out of the picture. You look at their other weapons on offense. Who's their tight end? Their number 2 and 3 receivers combined for less than 700 yards last year. They've got a running back in J.D. McKissick who's averaged 100 yards each year over his 4-year career. That dude's their starter now because they cut Adrian Peterson for who knows what reason. And then they got Antonio Gibson, who I think's a good gadget type of player, but the dude had 77 touches across the last 2 years of college football. He better not go off. So I'm going to say like 28-13. I mean, I think they put up some – Jim Schwartz is going to call inverted cover 2 once because he always does, and it's going to be a 70-yard touchdown because we don't know how to play that defense. But outside of that, I just don't see where they're going to move the ball on us. So 28-13 in a sloppy game that we'll all complain about afterwards.
Yeah. I have way too many nightmares, guys, of the Eagles getting burnt by terrible, terrible quarterbacks, guys. Maybe that's just my age. Anyway,
cover 2, man.
Yeah, I'm with Shane and Prince. I have 27-17, and I feel like I'm being generous giving Washington 17 points. Look, there's a few things. One, offensively, I can't wait to see 11 back on the field because the last time we saw him was he played one drive in a playoff game before the concussion and hit by Clowney, and he won 4 straight at the end of the year to win the division with the 5 of us playing wide receiver. So now there's no names offensively right now, especially with Alshon still out and Jalen Reagor out that really pop off the paper to you, but he's got a lot of speed and a lot of talented guys around him. So I can't wait to watch 11. Defensively, Dwayne Haskins does not scare me whatsoever. As Shane said, they have no weapons around him except for Terry McLaurin, and here's where I'm at. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to back Jim Schwartz before the season starts because Prince, get ready for this. Because you guys keep thinking about the Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills and Sidney Jones and Russell Douglas cornerbacks. He played. They got the underneath routes, the 10-yard slants, picked apart the bend but don't break defense because he had no corners to play man-to-man coverage. You have Darius Slay at a top 5 corner in this league. You have Nickel Roby-Coleman, who's a top 5 nickel corner in this league. As long as your other outside corner doesn't get toasted, this defense, this secondary is a lot better than they were in previous years. Then the year they even won the Super Bowl, the defensive line is deeper and more talented. The secondary is way better. Yes, I agree with Rob that the linebacker position is young and it's a little bit scary, but it's not going to be a worry on Sunday. And I'm generous giving Washington 17 points. Eagles easy.
How didn't they make a move there at the linebacker?
For 30 years they haven't made a move at the linebacker.
Yeah. But we at least had one.
No, wait. After all I just said, that was your guys' takeaway?
Yeah, actually, my takeaway.
Wait, don't disrespect Sean Bradley like that, man. Come on, guys. My temple out. John Bradley.
Sean Bradley who tore his knee at Eagles night game thing? Or that's Stuart Bradley?
My takeaway was that you said that they're young and a little scary. That's the most generous way I've heard anyone describe the Eagles linebacking core all off season. Kudos to you, man. You got a lot more faith. Look, I like TJ Edwards. I actually think TJ Edwards could be a player, but I still don't know if he's ready to man down the fort. I will tell you my last thing, Dives, and I'll let you close it out. If Derek Barnett does not get one sack, you can expect me on the post-game show to be on here saying, we're too good for Everson Griffin. We're too good for Jadeveon.
You'll be saying that. You'll be saying that.
Yeah. I will come out here. I don't care if they win 105-0. I will make sure, because I'm a prick and I'm going to bring up negative shit no matter how good the game is, just the way I do things. Jess kills me. She hates it because I do it all the time. But I will rip
Derek Barnett, sweetheart.
So, tune into the damn post-game show because I will rip Derek Barnett a new one if he does not get one sack on Sunday.
Tune in.
I will tweet fire Jim Schwartz during every game this season. At some point, I will tweet it every game.
Hey, got Brett Brown out of here.
You've been tweeting that for 3 years, Prince.
Yeah. Well, listen.
I was tweeting it during the Super Bowl.
All right, let's get on to
strict stat by Brandon Graham. # fire Jim Schwartz.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to final thoughts. Dylan, any final thoughts? Plug. Go ahead, man.
Final thoughts. Just like I said, I'm super excited to see 11 back on the field with all the speed. Week 1, I'm not sure you're going to see it, but once you get Rager back, I'm hopeful that Alshon comes back in the shape that they're saying he's in. Who knows how that's going to play out? But you have a crowd. You went from lawn chairs at the wide receiver position to a very crowded wide receiver and speedy wide receiver position, and a lot of speed out of the backfield. So I can't wait to watch him play on Sunday. And other than that, I have my Phillies podcast tomorrow night with me and Mike Small at 6:30. It's called Spitballing, so check us out. We'll be live here on tomorrow. And then Thursday at 6, I have the Faithful Fanatics podcast with me and 3 of my guys, and we will be discussing a lot more Eagles on Thursday night.
All right, you're up, Shane. Go ahead, dude.
Josh Sweat is going to have half the snaps of Derek Barnett and twice the production. Write it down. Book it. Josh Sweat will be the starter over Derek Barnett by the end of the year. I think Josh Sweat's going to have a great year. Wow. And to be honest, I've never thought Barnett's that good. I just don't see it. But I hope I'm wrong. It's teed up for him this week. And I'm excited for football to be back. I don't follow baseball. I don't follow basketball or hockey. I'm a football guy. That's it. And so we lost the playoff game on January 5th. On January 6th, I was digging into draft prospects, and it hasn't stopped. And I'm so excited that football's back this week. Can't wait.
Amen, bro. Amen. Prince, you're up. Anything you want to plug? Final thoughts?
Real Time with Prince Blue. Look out for it. Monday, Wednesdays, Friday. Also, great news ahead. Just waiting to clean up some things. I can't wait to announce it. Football is back, man. So, heart attacks every Sunday, on top of already bad eating. So, I'm ready, man. Before these Sundays, I used to be like, okay, my bad heart is because I'm eating bad. Now it's because the Eagles are back. So, everything is good, man. We're going to win the game. I'm so excited. Thank you for allowing me to come on. Go Birds, baby. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. Fletcher Cox, I believe this is the year where we finally sit back and we say, I think we've been underrating the guy for what he's had to do without a legit elite DN. Like, he doesn't get the sacks like an Aaron Donald, but he gets more wins and he has a ring. So look out for Fletcher Cox to have a monster year this year. I just see it.
I can't believe that Prince didn't say Doug Peterson in his final thoughts.
He's here right now. He's downstairs having dinner. I got to make sure he's not with my wife though, because you know how Doug is.
All right, you're up, Rob.
All right, there are 4 months left in the year 2020, and I think we all can say that 2020 has sucked on a whole nother level of suck. We have 4 months to make it better, and the only way it's going to be better in Philadelphia is if we have a football team that keeps us engaged throughout those 4 months. With that said, on the Madness on Thursday, we will do, Jess and I normally would spend the last 8 weeks leading up to the season breaking down each division, having guests. Obviously, everything was crazy this year. So we are going to tie 8 weeks of shows into one. And we're going to do a rundown of the entire NFL. We're going to talk the Eagles. And then we're going to make our stupid Super Bowl predictions that never pan out. All I will say is this. You will all want to tune in to hear my Super Bowl prediction. But it won't be something any of you enjoy hearing. And you're going to want to kill me, and that's okay. I'm going to need you to want to kill me. That's what I'm looking for by making the prediction that's coming your way Thursday night, 8 o'clock. So watch Kansas City, Houston, but mute that shit and listen to me and Jess because we're going to be breaking down the whole NFL for you.
If you want to kill Rob, you got to get through me.
Thank you, Prince. But you might
I know, Rob. I know
don't
exactly
know what that means,
going.
but you got to get through me.
Listen, if anybody watched me, I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago with the whole NFC East, and I made the prediction there, but I know not many of these guys watch it. The prediction's coming because
I know.
I've tried to walk off of it, and I can't. I'm getting closer and closer to really feeling this way, and I hate it.
All right. Final thoughts. Guys, it's just good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. Not only am I excited to watch football on Sundays, but, man, there is nothing better than food prep late Saturday night, waking up at 5 a.m. on Sundays, turning on my smoker, that anticipation of football and smoked meats, man, God tier. Nothing beats it. Moving forward, Party on Broad is going to be your source for Eagles football. Every game will be dropping pregame and postgame shows. I promise you it's going to be a shit ton of fun. I like to think of myself as a realist, as a fan that sees it both ways. But when it comes to the Eagles on Sundays, man, all that goes out the windows. It's just going to be just a shit show of emotions. I guarantee you.
Don't say shit. Don't say shit. Don't say shit.
Yo, OD Beckham's listening. Beckham is listening. We don't want to say that.
And I gotta finish with this comment right here on our first preview show. One of our first comments was player of the game, Greg Ward. Player of the game, Greg Ward. You heard it first, Rob. Right there.
That's why D keep freezing. He's typing this shit as Wild Wild West.
I'll tell you this. I'll give you this. If Greg Ward is the player of the game in week 1, I will buy a custom-made jersey of Greg Ward and wear it every game the rest of the season. You heard it here. I put it out there.
Jersey.
A jersey. I ain't buying no jersey of Greg Ward, man. That's too expensive. So I'm going to buy that $30 jersey, and I'm going to put his name on the back T-shirt, put his name and number on the back. I'll wear it all season if he is the player of the game this week.
I'll put all his kids through college if he's player of the game.
Calm down, Mike.
If he's player of the game, we got beat.
We got beat.
Oh, man. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. So make sure you follow all of us here on Twitter at The Painted Lines. Make sure you give my
Very well.
Credit, right? He got himself thrown out of the track. All right, I'll do it. Hold on.
He had to
Robert
go log
Dylan-
into his Wild Wild West account and put some more Greg Ward
See?
propaganda out
That's
there.
what he gets for being sneaky.
I heard you. He can put himself. I was going to finish it for you.
You know
That's me changing accounts with Wild Wild West and Mr. Crockpot.
Why he's going Wild Wild West didn't say anything. You got to get good at these burners, D. Come on, man.
All right.
Oh, God.
Let's wrap this up. Make sure you follow my man Rob, follow Prince, follow Shane, follow Dylan on Twitter, myself. Thanks you so much for watching, guys. Keep a lookout for pre-game shows here at the Pain and post-game shows here at the Pain Lines YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Go Birds! Stay awesome.